Hi guys, this video is for all the girls out there who might be feeling that they're not worthy of something or someone and they have a lot of self-doubt. So please keep watching if you're one of them, and today I will be sharing a lot of insights and tips on how to get over that feeling and be a better version of yourself as well as understand what you're worthy of. So yes, let's get started. Firstly, I have a very simple question for you. Why do you think that in the first place you're not as worthy as the person next to you? Why do you think that there's this feeling of self-doubt and the feeling of maybe not deserving the same things as others because they're just better than you in general? I mean, why is this feeling even existing in the first place? I do think that I have a fair idea of what your answers would be, and that is because as someone who has experienced the same things in the past, and I still do at times, I do understand that there is definitely more than one reason. The most common and also the most hurting reason is the external factors, that is mostly the people whom you are close to or whom you trust enough to give you a review about yourself. If you've been in a similar situation before, I am pretty sure that you might be able to understand the point that I'm trying to convey here. Because you know what happens often is that we try to decide our value based on what others think of us. We tend to put that responsibility on people around us to tell us what we should be doing, what we should not be doing, or maybe what we deserve, which I think is kind of very normal for a human being to do, because you often need a lot of external validation to feel happy, to feel good about yourself. And I feel that as far as it is normal, why should you do this? Why should you give the opportunity to someone else to make you feel good or bad about yourself? I mean, why do you think that there's someone else who has a better experience or a better power to tell you that this is what you should be doing, this is what you're good at, this is what you should restrain yourself from, or maybe this is just something that you should expect and nothing more or less than that? I mean, why are you giving that power to someone to tell you all of this about yourself, which is just integral to you, which is just personal to you and your self-respect and your identity? But yes, definitely there could be a lot more factors which might lead to a deprivation of your self-worth or self-identity. That is because, at times we just tend to act in a very self-destructive manner. That's not something in our control. I mean, let's face it, who would intentionally want themselves to feel low or just not feel good? I mean, even if you do not like the way you are, and it's perfectly okay to not feel 100% contented with the person that you are currently, because that helps you put on future goals for yourself that you set, so that once you reach that level you feel a feeling of accomplishment and achievement. So that's also alright. But when we come on this self-destructive kind of a nature that we tend to possess, I think it is very important to understand the factors behind it, which not be very, very active. They might be hidden factors, but if you do not identify those factors, there's nothing you can do about it. So all you're going to do is blame yourself and feel that need to constantly, demotivate yourself somewhere within. And from my personal experience, I can tell you very firmly that I was the person that I have just described. And I think it takes a lot of time and a lot of character development to get out of that phase and understand that your value should not be measured on a scale or should not be compared to another person, because you are your own person. I mean, I think we all have our own experiences, so that's what builds us, and it's going to be really, really unfair if we start comparing our experiences with that of others, because everyone has grown differently, everyone has a different state of mind and a different way of perceiving things as well as perceiving themselves. So I don't think that it is fair to have any sort of comparison whatsoever. When I was in school, let's just say 8th or 9th standard, because that's the time I remember. I absolutely do not remember anything before that. So yes, when I entered 8th, I slowly started to realize that I was getting really, really self-conscious about the way that I looked. Because I was a very healthy and a plump child ever since I was born. And when you start to enter those early teenage stages, you tend to realize that people around you are being judgmental. There are people who might tease you for the way that you look, or who might just mock you behind your backs. But when you do get to be that person who is being talked about, you kind of really get conscious about it, and it affects you a lot, even as a child. I mean, especially as a child. I think that's where it all starts, because no one would just grow to be self-conscious instantly, or just wake up one day and decide that they are maybe not good enough, because this is a feeling that takes a lot of time to develop over the years. I mean, I used to click like 100 pictures of myself whenever I got dressed up, but I was just too afraid to even post any, because I felt that I look ugly. I mean, I just don't fit in under the beauty standards which are set. So maybe this is not something people would like or appreciate, and I needed a lot of validation that time, because in my head I look down on myself like anything. I still do sometimes, and I'm working on it, but at that time it was just really bad, and I needed someone to tell me that, oh, you look beautiful, you're pretty, and give me those kind of small compliments which would make my day and make me feel a little bit confident about myself. So throughout all my classes in school, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th, specifically the lockdown period, which started when I was in 10th and ended when I was almost done with my 11th, I used to eat a lot. I used to binge eat, and I used to stress eat like anything, because there was like a big phase, a big patch of loneliness which I experienced. There was a point when I literally had zero friends. I had zero contact with anyone else, and I was barely active online. So all of that stress led to a lot of eating, because it gave me a lot of comfort. And you tend to just do things which make you feel comfortable, because that's a reflexive kind of an action or a response of your body and your mind to cope up with that stress. Initially, I didn't care, because I just felt like it's fine, I'm just gaining a few pounds, it's fine, I'll just lose it, I'll just stop eating. But that's not how it works. Once you start indulging yourself into comfort, it's not easy to get out of it. So by the end of 11th, when my school restarted, I went back for a farewell party which I was supposed to give to the passing out 12s, along with a few other friends from my batch. And the day I physically met them again for a dance practice, that's when I realized how conscious I was about myself, how much I really cared about the way I looked, and that was quite opposite to the way that I was been feeling over the lockdown period, because maybe there was no one else that I was coming in contact with besides my family. So I was like, it doesn't matter how I look, but it actually did affect me a lot, so much so that I was just too afraid to even go to the event after all, or even get dressed up, or just talk to my friends who I was really close to back in 8th and 9th. So I felt that kind of a distance, because I was not feeling confident enough to put myself out there. By the time that I entered 12th, I had been in quite a few relationships in the past, so when I did get out of them, I was really hurt. And as someone who gets very emotionally attached easily, it was very hard for me to cope up with it. So I already had that self-destructive mindset that maybe I'm not good enough, I should just not even try to fit into the group anymore, because firstly, I'm just this fat person, so I just won't look good in photos, I won't look good in social gatherings or going out with people, so I should just stay put to myself. And then secondly, all the people that I trusted once as friends and even as my partners in relationships, they all somewhere made me feel the same thing that I was feeling about myself already. So there was this kind of a unison between the two. I mean, that's not the kind of unity that I was looking for between my thoughts and the people that I was close to. And that led to a lot more self-deprivation, and it made me feel that it's fine, I should just sit back now and not try to be that girl, the popular girl, or the one who's very sweet, who's liked by everyone, who's praised by people, because I was really used to getting praised as a kid in 8th, 9th and even before that, because I was like the most obedient child, someone who is very kind and helpful. So I was almost very used to getting that praise, of getting that validation. And when that stops all of a sudden and you're hit with this reality that no, not everyone would feel that way about you, but your family would definitely, but not the people who you choose to surround yourself with. I think that hits you like a brick, and it just makes you feel that sense of betrayal from people. So that's something that I experienced quite evidently, I would say. I mean, it got to a point where even if someone would genuinely praise me, I would not believe them. I would say that you're lying, or okay, thank you, but this is not true, and you're just kidding, or something like that. So I mean, I was so deprived of feeling that whenever I did not even believe that it's true. And please do not get me wrong, I was not the kind of an attention seeker who would require people to compliment her again and again, and so that was not the kind of person I was. In fact, I was quite the opposite, because I never even tried to fetch compliments. I never intentionally talked bad about myself in front of others just so that they could say no and disagree with me and make me feel better about myself. That was not me. Anything and everything that I felt was in my head, and it was just till myself. There was no one else that I was saying all these things to. And when you just keep all your thoughts to yourself, you're in a very chaotic state of mind, because it's like you have just so much going on in your head, and you just look so calm and composed from the outside, but no one knows that there's a storm brewing inside you. So it's very hard to keep a balance between the two and let people believe that you're alright, while you're still trying to figure out what is it that you should do to feel good, what is it that you should do to actually get better and be worthy enough. Also, one other very important point is that during your pre-teens and throughout your teenage phase, you're going through a lot of changes physically, emotionally, and also in terms of your hormones which are developing, due to which there's just so much that is already going in your head. So please, if you are in your preteens right now, if you are a teenager, do not feel that you're just very messed up or something, or you overthink a lot, because that is something that you were supposed to do, and it's absolutely normal. Trust me, everyone goes through it. Everyone after you would go through it, and you would feel the same thing once you pass that stage. And in that period of time, you just feel that the entire world doesn't have any other job but to care about what you feel, or what you look like, or what you're doing, which is absolutely not true. But that is something that again you will realize after you're out of it. And before that, you need to understand this fact that if you're in a public setting, you do not need to just constantly feel what you're doing is right, or feel very, very conscious, because as much as you might feel that people are very, very concerned about what you're doing and what you're looking like, that's actually not the case, because everyone is just concerned about themselves. Especially in today's world, there's not a lot of judgment, which is a very, very positive thing, and I think we are adapting to this change very fastly. So you do not need to put yourself in that position, because it's all in your head. And until and unless you realize this fact that the person who cares the most about you is yourself, you will not get over this feeling. What I've noticed often, let's just say in terms of what you post on social media, usually teenagers, what they do is they cover their faces, or they just show half their face, or they don't even just show their face at all. So I find it quite sad, as someone who has also experienced that they're feeling the need to cover themselves, because they feel that maybe that's not something people would like to look at. But please trust me on this one. You do not need to do that. You are genuinely beautiful the way you are, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot of things about us that we might see as flaws, but others might not even notice it. But again, that's also completely normal. But that doesn't mean that even if you see flaws in you, you need to cover them up, or you need to just not put yourself out there, because until and unless you do that, you won't know what others might actually feel about you, or how you're being perceived by others. One other very funny thing, but also a very true thing, is that we do not fear judgment from strangers mostly. We fear judgment from the people that know us, or the people that we are close to, because those are the people that we actually care what they think about us. So like I mentioned previously in the video, what happens is, if you've already been in a similar situation wherein someone you were close to or someone you trusted enough made you feel unworthy or made you feel low about yourself, so in those situations, what happens is that you are completely relying on an external source of validation. So if you're not getting it, you're going to go into a very deep kind of a spiral of self-doubt and questioning if you are even worthy of something. Especially if you're in a relationship, or you like someone, or you have previously been with someone. I think it is a very toxic culture that nowadays is very, very actively seen, that we post so many things online, or we just tend to portray ourselves in a manner to get those compliments from that particular person. And I think it is so unfair. I mean, you're not even sure if they care enough about you, yet you care so much about them to make you feel good. I mean, even the slightest touch of compliment or any kind of praise from them would make your day. But why? I mean, I am pretty sure you have a lot of people, your family and your friends, who are gonna be there with you all the time and who are genuinely loving you for the way you are. And you are running away from them to people who are not even valuing you enough. So I think it's very, very unfair to you and your heart, and also to the people who truly love you, to put all of that responsibility on one person who doesn't even care enough. By this, you're not only devaluing the people who really, really choose you no matter what, but you're also giving yourself that opportunity to feel hurt again. And I mean, why do we need to do that? Think about it. Why do you think it is so important for him or her to say or to feel that you look good? What are you even trying to prove? That's the first and the foremost thing that you should think of whenever this thought comes to your head. A lot of you might not have the answer to why, or you might not be able to understand why are you doing what you're doing. But I think it's very important to stop or maybe pause in that whole process of overthinking and critically stalking someone or waiting for their reply, or trying to get that information out of someone if they have spoken about you. Because you need to understand and analyze why you're doing what you're doing. It is very important to have that answer, because until and unless you don't have it, it means that there's no purpose behind it. There's no actual reason behind it. You're just doing it for self-satisfaction, and that is actually very, very toxic for your own self. You need to think to yourself, is that person really worth it? Does he even or does she even care about you or think about you enough to make you feel important? So if not, then why are you wasting your time? Just simply why? And it is important to know that if you're not important for someone, no matter how hard you try, all you're going to be is a subject of mockery and nothing less or more than that. And hear me out. Even if you're in a very healthy relationship with someone who might genuinely say that they love you or they care for you, please do not let them decide your value 100%. Even if they're there to stick and stay by your side, it is not their duty or their responsibility to tell you your worth. Now, coming to how we can actually get out of this feeling and stop being so harsh on ourselves all the time, I think the very first point is that we need to stop any sort of a comparison with another person. And this doesn't come naturally. It's not an easy task. You need to intentionally practice it again and again. So whenever you're in a process of comparing yourself with someone else and you're feeling very sad and low that, oh, she looks or he looks so pretty and she has that kind of a body, that kind of hair, that face, she's just lucky to have that group of friends or be where she is, I think stop right there. You need to command yourself and say that stop. It's okay. So what if she looks beautiful? So what if I feel that she's prettier than me? If there's something that I can work on, I will do that. I will get where I want to get soon. I will set those goals. But until I reach those goals, I do not need to go so hard on myself. I need to realize that maybe she has previously worked hard, or maybe she's just lucky to be born with those features. But that's not something that I can't do. That's not something that is not in my control, because it's always in your control to feel a certain way about yourself. Maybe the only difference is the confidence. Maybe you are equally as good as the other person and you're just too afraid to put yourself out there. So maybe if that's the case, then you will never find out until and unless you take that bold step. One thing that I feel could be very, very controversial is that there is no such proper definition of being beautiful or being pretty, because beauty is very subjective. You know, if you see a girl, half of the people might think that she's just the most beautiful girl that they've ever seen. She matches all the features of someone who they idolize as pretty or they perceive as beautiful, and for the other half, she just not might be that attractive or appealing. So although that doesn't mean that would affect the way she actually looks or affect the way she thinks she looks, but this is the point which is only proving that a lot of different people have different perspectives and preferences. So it is completely normal to like someone or to not like someone, but that doesn't decide their worth or their looks. So same goes for you. If you ask one person about how you're looking and they might not appreciate you enough, you might get into that self-doubt spiral again. But I can assure you, you go and ask someone else and they will praise you like anything. They will make you feel like you're the most beautiful and charming person they've met, because it all lies in the perceptions people hold. And it's completely normal to not have the same kind of ideas and perceptions as the person next to you. What is important is to have that feeling of fulfillment from within and for your own self. One more tip is, please stop talking bad about yourself in front of people. If you are getting compliments, accept them. Just say thank you. If you somewhere do not believe that it's true, it's fine. Let it be to yourself. Do not let the other person feel that they have maybe made a mistake by complimenting you, or make them feel that okay, maybe she's right, she's not that pretty or something like that. No, if you're getting compliments, accept it and be thankful about it. You do not have to go out there and say to random people or just to your friends also that you're just not pretty, you are ugly, you're not worth it, you're fat, you don't have good hair, good skin, or anything that you're conscious about. Don't say it, because I think when we say something, we are radiating that energy, we are transferring that energy to people, and that energy is also coming back to us. So that negativity would just flow around in a circle, it would not end. So to put an end to it, you need to stop talking about yourself negatively and start being more positive and optimistic in life. I think wherever you go, you should always enter a new place with a smile on your face, which would show that you're very confident and happy and you have a very positive attitude, because the first impression that you give to someone is something that would last and something which would tell about your character and how you see things. If you're not confident, if you yourself don't believe that you deserve anything, or if you yourself just not happy, I don't think there's anyone else who would even be interested in making you feel better. Because in today's world, there's no one who would take that responsibility or be generous enough or kind enough to just help you out and get you out of that bubble that you're in. And it is solely and wholly your responsibility. No one cares enough about the other person, and I think that's fine, because everyone is selfish and you should be selfish. You should keep your needs and your choices before others, because that's what's going to help you in the long run. No one else is going to stick by beside you if you yourself are not on your side. You need to literally trick your brain into thinking that you actually like yourself. You need to compliment yourself daily and make yourself believe that you are actually worth something. Liking yourself or loving yourself is not easy. It comes with a lot of time and practice, and sometimes you have to force it. So you need to fake it till you make it, and you will make it someday. I think one practice that you should try to incorporate in your daily routine is to say something good about yourself in front of the mirror or just to your own self. And I'm pretty sure there might be something, even the slightest or the smallest thing that you think is good. Maybe just the work you do, or the kind of nature that you have, or anything about your own self, something that you have been working on and you have been putting in a lot of hard work. So you need to appreciate yourself from time to time to alter your brain to think that okay, you're actually good and you're actually working. So it needs to be appreciated enough, and that's the fuel that would keep it going. So a car won't work until and unless you put fuel in it. So that's just the way our brain works. You need to fuel it with energy, you need to fuel it with love and appreciation, and that's how it will motivate it to work harder and to work more, and also give out more positive changes and responses. So in order to do that, you need to intentionally and artificially start that practice. I'm not saying that this would work right away or it'll transform you completely into a new person, because this is not like a Barbie or a fairy tale spell. This is a practice that would come slowly to you, and one day I think at some point it would come so naturally to you that you would not require any sort of an external source to make you feel good about yourself. And that's the best part, because you're doing this practice to just appreciate yourself enough to keep going. But this also has this big benefit that once you're so self-sufficient that you do not require anyone else, you would feel so contented and satisfied, and I think that would make you feel much better, and that would lead to a very new and a very self-sufficient version of yourself, which is very important for self growth and for living independently when you grow up. So, yes, please do that, and I would meet you next Sunday with a new topic and something new to talk about. So, please stay tuned, and yes, I will see you all next week.